Okay, welcome everybody. For this video I'm going to discuss and show and give detailed information here on the Vision Pro 26-inch LCD arcade monitor available from Suzo-Hap. Now what this comes with is you get the actual monitor itself, the appropriate bezel, which you can choose which bezel you need on the website when you order the kit, and it also comes with the installation kit, is really what this is more specifically. This is the kit. But this is the monitor and the bezel. But this is the mounting kit for the monitor itself. So you get all three pieces. And it's rather expensive. I think I paid $630 after shipping for these three items. And I did that because A, I had the money, B, I wanted to test this out because I'd never seen anybody actually do a video or give instructions on how it looks and how it turns out and everything. So I went ahead and got all this stuff, and I'm going to hook it all up and show you how it turns out and what's all entailed with it. So basically, I wanted to show these items here. Next I'm going to get them out of the box and show everything out of the box and set up and ready to go. And I'm going to be putting it in the MK1 here. Now I'm just going to put it in here for display purposes for the video. It's not going to stay in here. I have two brand new 25-inch tri-mode Macvisions over here in the living room waiting to go in. One's going to go in here, the other one's going to go in the MK3. And I'm going to keep the Wells Gardner K7400 that's in there. I'm going to keep that in there. And the Macvision that I just bought that's in the main cabinet that this is going to go in, that Macvision is going to come out of the main cabinet and end up going in the MK4. So I'm going to be playing musical monitors here, but for display purposes, on showing how it's going to turn out, I'm going to be putting the LCD in here and then putting it in the main cabinet sometime later, because I can't do it now. I don't have access to it. It's at my cousin's house and he's busy doing stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do this detailed video using the MK1. So I'm going to cut away here, and when I come back through the magic of video editing, I will have all this stuff unboxed and we'll go through it and show you what's all entailed with the kit. So one moment. Alright, here's what you get. You get the actual monitor itself, which comes with a remote adjustment board like every monitor does. Has settings for, or buttons for, adjust menu down, up and down, brightness, contrast up and down, auto adjust, select, and menu and escape. So typical remote adjustment board, but what's kind of interesting is that it has a magnet on the back, so you can actually, there we go. You can actually stick it on the, when I pulled it out of the box it was stuck to the back of the unit. So make it kind of interesting if you're able to just simply stick this onto any piece of metal inside the control panel, or it has screw holes to mount wherever you want. It's up to you. But kind of cool to have a magnet on the back of the thing so you can just stick it wherever you want. And as far as the connections go for the monitor, you've got, sorry about the lack of light under here, but you got the connection for power. You have your CGA connector like we're all used to seeing on the 15 kilohertz arcade monitor, a VGA connector, and a DVI connector. So depending on your application, see, you could use either one of these for MAME. And this is eventually going to go in my MAME cabinet like I mentioned. So, but in that cabinet I have a arcade VGA, which is set up to be running on a 15 kilohertz monitor. So I'm going to probably end up using the CGA again, so I can run everything on its original native resolution, which will work out pretty well. But it has those three connections there to set up however you end up using for your application. And inside the box that the monitor comes in, there's a secondary box here, and here's where all the connectors are and cables for those hookups. You've got a brand new DVI cable, a brand new VGA cable, and a brand new power connector, power harness. This is your standard computer type 3-prong power connector, power harness. And it also comes with this CGA extension cable. Now this is going to come in real handy. Your current CGA connector will hook up to this, and this will hook up to the monitor. And the reason they include this is because the LCD sits so much closer to the player than the original tubed monitor, because with the tube the chassis sits further back, so the CGA connector doesn't have to go as far. But with this one, it's going to have to come forward and hook up in the bottom, so it needs to be elongated or extended, which is why they include this cable. So I'll see if I can't show that in action, but that's the general idea of why this extension cable is in there. So this is what's all included with in here along with the monitor. Now I also ordered the mounting kit. Now these mount to the monitor, and then they mount to the factory monitor mounting brackets that are already in here in the cabinet. So that's handy dandy. It's all, like I said, it's all 3 different pieces, and then the third piece is the bezel here. Now this bezel was the one I ordered was for NBA Showtime and something else. I think I got the last. Oh, pardon me. I think I have the last one that they had in stock, but it fits perfect in here as far as width. It fits in here perfect. I'm not sure if I can show you. You've got about maybe, if it's dead even, you've probably got maybe a 1/8 of an inch on each side of the cabinet, so it fits in here perfect as far as width. So this, if you guys are going to be using these on a Mortal Kombat type of cabinet, or a Midway, NFL Blitz, NBA Showtime, you're going to want to get the one that's 49-7627-D. That's the one that you want to get. See it? Okay, LCD bezel, NFL Blitz 99, NBA Showtime Gauntlet Legends. It says non-stock, so I'm not sure if that means that they don't keep it in stock, but they had one on the listing. I was fortunate enough to have it in stock, and I got it. So this is the bezel, and it will fit in here perfectly once I get the monitor installed, so I don't have to do any cutting or anything like that. It's already pre-cut, so just lay it in and go. And oh, I mentioned that it comes with a brand new power connector. Well, I would suggest if you're going to be using it in an arcade machine that already has wiring for a monitor for 115, to get this thing. I can't recall if it came with the bracket kit. I don't believe it did, but if it did, I'm sorry. I can't recall at this time. Just call me Ronald Reagan. Those of you who were around in the 80s will understand that. Back on track here. This your standard connector will plug into here to supply the 115 off the regular arcade monitor harness, and that'll plug into the monitor. So that pretty much in details what all comes with the kit. I'll go ahead and get the K7000 pulled out of here, and I'll get this installed, and I will not turn it on until I have the camera rolling so we can all share in how it looks when it first comes online and how to adjust it, so you guys can learn with me. And it's I figure it's a better way for me to learn along with you guys while you're watching, so that way I don't have to explain it later, because if you learn while I learn, we can learn together and be all one big happy family. So I'm going to cut away again here. When I come back, I will have the brackets installed and show how those fit on there. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to have to put them on the monitor first. I'll get them on the monitor, and then I'll lay the monitor in place. And then I will come back or cut, and somehow thereof, those 2 words, and show it in detail when it's installed in the cabinet. And then I'll cut away again and have it all hooked up, and then we'll fire it up. So let me cut away here, and I'll be right back. And here we have it installed. As you can see, the brackets screw into the side of the monitor, and then they fall right in place on the standard factory brackets. And you have an option of using the middle, top or bottom hole, and I've lined it up, and the middle one appears to be perfect as far as when the bezel sits on here, how it's equidistant from top to bottom, and there's no, I mean, it's not too high, not too low. The middle one seems about perfect. So we'll call it the Goldilocks setting. Anyway, the problem I ran into is that you can see it's pretty wide here. These wooden blocks that the bezel rests against will keep the monitor from being able to just go straight in. It will not work, and you cannot angle it one way in and then go the other side in. It won't work that way either. So what I had to do was remove this bracket and remove this bracket, snake it in, get this side in, and then hold it in place, and then reach up under here and put this back in through the back here, and put the stud through, and then put the bracket back on the bolts. Same thing up here. I had to snake it in from behind, put the stud through the bracket, and then reattach the factory bracket to the bolts, and then put the nuts back on. That's the only way I could get it to fit in here, because the monitor itself is wider than the area between these 2 posts for the bezel to rest against. So it has to be snaked in from one side, and you got to put those brackets back on from behind, and then it's a real bastard, but it fits in there. And let me go ahead and peel this off of here. That looks awesome. I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed so far with how this looks. I haven't even turned it on yet, so I'm not impressed with how it installs, but I am impressed with the way it looks. And then when you put the bezel in, the bezel fits in here perfect as well. Let's see if I can get, there we go. And there it is with the bezel installed. I mean, that looks, I was thinking that it was gonna look too small, but it doesn't. It looks, I mean, almost as good as that one. If anything, that's smaller. I mean, as far as width, this thing has that beat hands down as far as width. So we'll see how it turns out. I'll fire it up. Now I got to cut away here again. I'm not going to actually reinstall the nuts because this is going to come back out of here. One of my new MacVisions is going to go in here instead. So, but I got to figure out how I'm going to wire it up because, like I said, I have this connector here for power, and the connector I have for the factory connection, it's not going to be any light back here, but if you can see it, it's maybe you can't. No, you can't even see the damn thing. There's no light. It's not this kind. It's not this kind, and it's not that kind. So what I may do is just use the regular power connector because there's an outlet. There's an outlet right there. I'll just probably use the regular power connector, and I'm not going to try and use this. But what is fortunate is on my actual MAME cabinet, I do have the connector that'll plug right into that, so that'll be good. So I'm going to go ahead and have to actually use this thing. Whoop. No big deal. I'll plug it in the bottom of this thing, and I'll plug it in the wall, and we will turn the machine on in unison with that, and we'll see how it all turns out. So, 1 second. Well guys, here you go. I know I said that I would turn it on and share an experience with you, but I did that already, and it turns out that the controls are not complicated to adjust. However, they took like 15 minutes for me to adjust them to where they needed to be, because instead of just turning a pod, you had to go through and escape up, down, auto adjust, escape up, down. And it took 15 minutes to adjust it to where it's perfect on the screen. So I cut it, and I'm going ahead with this take, and I'm just going to describe how to do it. But you can see it working on here, and I gotta say, people talk about how they're afraid it's not going to look good and be true to the original resolution and just look pixelated and not very good, but this looks effing fantastic. If you look at it closely, it is dead on balls accurate to the resolution of the actual real tube arcade monitor. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. It looks awesome. It's not pixelated at all. It's fluid and smooth. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, and even if you, I'll get to these adjust controls in a minute, but if I press menu here, adjust menu, it tells you right there what the resolution is. 610 by 224, 55 hertz refresh rate. So it even tells you what the refresh rate and the resolution is of whatever game you're playing. And then that's just badass right there. So it's just, it's just awesome. It's I don't want to keep repeating myself at the risk of sounding repetitive, but I mean, look at it. Judge for yourself. That looks just like the real arcade monitor. So here's proof positive that these LCD monitors are not a bad buy. They're pretty pricey, but they are well worth it from just putting my 2 cents out on it. I mean, you can look at it. It looks so much like the real arcade monitor. It just, it looks so good that I'm like 50-50 on whether to just leave this in here and leave the MacVision in my MAME cabinet, because this looks so damn awesome that I'd almost just want to leave this in here. So I don't know. It's tempting to just leave it here. I don't know. Either way, this looks awesome. So if you got the money and you want to drop it on a monitor like this, I'd say go for it, because it is fantastic. So now that that's out of the way, I do want to say I put the glass back in for the full effect of how it would look when you have it fully installed. And then I of course ran this up to here. But let me show you how it hooks up in the back, what I did to hook it all going. Alright, what I had to do was I went ahead and used the connection that plugs into the wall, because I have this connection like this here, and there's no, let's see if I can get a better light on it. There you go. That harness that is supposed to be able to use to plug into the factory wiring, doesn't have the receptacle for this, so there's an outlet right here. I just plugged it in the wall, and you can see right there it says CGAN, VGAN, DVIN, and then the power connector. And then I use the extension cable to plug into the CGA right there. So that's how it's all hooked up, and you can see from the back here how these brackets all line up. So that's how it's all installed. Yeah, it's real tempting to leave this in here. It looks badass, but well, I guess the final thing is to go over how to run the controls here. So the best way is I'll just prop this up on the old pod of Tri. Okay, again, you've got, well, shit, I'll do it this way. Adjust menu, brightness, contrast, auto adjust, and menu. And you have down, up, select, and escape. So these are dual buttons. So let's say you want to bring the menu up. You press adjust menu, bam, comes up. Now this is the image adjust menu. You press escape, and you'll get the image menu for contrast, brightness, color mode, and image adjust. So you want to press down. Let's see here. You got vertical position, horizontal position, duration, halftone. I don't adjust anything from the HV positions. I go down to, let's see here. I go down to image adjust. Select. Down, down, down. Select. Okay, now we're back to this. So, reset position, auto adjust. I'll go down here to input level. It says step 1. Now when you change these, it changes the brightness level. Select. See step 3, step 2, step 1. Changes the brightness level. Down, oh, let me escape. Okay, down is auto color, don't want to mess with that. Okay, H start is horizontal position. V start is vertical position. H size is horizontal size, and V size is vertical size. And those are what you want to adjust your corresponding up, down, left, and right. It took me 15 minutes to get this thing positioned just right, so that's why I cut away and just came back on with having it on. So I lied to you, and that's my fault, but that's because it was just too long to... I mean, I'm sure you guys don't want to sit here forever and watch me adjust and adjust and adjust, but that's how everything works. And I still love how you press the adjust menu, and it comes up with the resolution 610 by 224 55 hertz. And basically that's it, guys. Thanks for following along. I know I can get long-winded. I'm not the best at describing in detail some of this stuff, so if I seem monotonous or hard to follow or repetitive or just boring to listen to, I'm sorry, but I wanted to give a review on this thing because I've never seen anybody else that had one. I've seen one on location in a machine in Vegas, in a Neo Geo actually, but that's the only time I've ever seen one in the actual wild. I've never seen anybody actually own one or in another machine, so I can't say enough good things about this. It gives the actual CRTs a big run for their money as far as quality, while retaining the original resolution. It looks just as badass as any CRT I've ever seen. So all the naysayers and the claims of pixelation and not as good a picture as a CRT, that's all going to be put to rest. So anyway, thanks for watching again, and nothing else I can say. We'll see you next time.